Welcome back to Book Stage and Screen. You're here with Samantha and Gordon, and we've been joined by the amazing Hannie Rayson. Welcome.
Thanks, Amanda.
Yes, Samantha, actually. Sorry, Gordon's going, have you got a new name?
Yes. Samantha, did I say Amanda?
That's all right. I answer to anything. Now, we were very excited to see that you're coming down our way very soon with your show, Hello Beautiful. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Well, it's a treatment of my book, a memoir that I wrote a year ago, and which is the story of my life. But the way I've told it is in 43 little vignettes about growing up in Melbourne.
Yes.
And all the adventures that I had as I was growing up, but in the theatre as well, because I'm a playwright. And then what I did was that I went on this massive book tour that started in Perth and went right up to sort of far north Queensland, actually, over a year. And as I was travelling around doing that, people said to me, you should turn this into a show. And so I thought, great, that's fun. And so I went to Malthouse, and the artistic director there said, yeah, fabulous, let's do that. So we opened last night in Frankston, and it starts now full on for 3 months. So I'm doing 21 theatres, and one of them is Wyndham. So that's pretty exciting.
Welcome to Wyndham.
Yes.
A new chapter for the memoir.
Yes.
Well, that's right. So last night I opened in Frankston, and it was sold out, and it was so much fun. I can't tell you. I was thinking actually as I was in the dressing room about to go on, I thought, you know what, I could run away now. I could actually run out the back door.
Is that because they put purple Smarties in your Smartie collection? Are you having a diva moment or no? Just joking.
I was having a moment of, sort of my first show for a while, because it has been on in the city, but at the Malthouse. But you start your first night and all that stuff, and suddenly you can hear all the crowd come in, and it's all loud in the room, and you get your 15-minute call, and you think, oh my god.
What am I doing? Because it is a one-woman show, isn't it? It's not like you're bouncing off.
No, it's a one-woman show, and that's a lot of talking. But it's fine. Didn't forget anything. Blah blah.
Well, we have found with this show that creatives do like talking about themselves. We don't usually have a shortage of volunteers to talk about themselves, so that's good that you do like talking.
Well, you see, the thing about me is that because I am a writer, I've been very interested in talking about other people. That's been my life's work. Is inhabiting other people has been. Just lying on the floor trying to imagine what it would be like to be an elderly male serial killer, for example. I mean, it's not, as far away from my own experience as possible. Yeah. So it was interesting for me to kind of wake up one morning and think, you know what, I think I might be interesting.
And you are indeed. And so did you ever think when you thought, well, I suppose you didn't, you said it occurred to you that you could do this as a play, but did you think, I'll get, a wonderful actress, or did you think, no one else is going to do it as good as I could?
Yeah, it didn't occur to me. Wonderful actress. Yeah, that might tell you a bit. No.
Is Meryl Streep available? No, all right, then it's me.
That's right. No, I felt like the reason why I wanted to do it, actually, and it's really worked in this way, is I wanted to reconnect in a kind of personal, intimate, direct way with an audience. So, I've been working where in big stage shows, so at the Playhouse in Melbourne, where you're looking to write something where there'll be maybe an audience of 900 people, and has to have a great big arc and all this sort of stuff, big dramatic arc, and working out how you get the cavalry on and then getting them off, all that stuff. And what I wanted was just to do something which is what my memoir did, which was to imagine a person sitting in their lounge room, in their armchair, reading my book, having a glass of wine, and me just mucking about laughing with them like a friend. And that sense of intimacy and immediacy, I wanted, and I don't get that if somebody else is doing it, because once again, I'm at home when someone else is having all the fun. So I thought, no, this is going to be me this time. I'm going to be out there and, talking directly to an audience. And that's been really lovely. So just to give you an example, I walked on last night and my opening line is, good evening and welcome to my life. And a man sitting in the front row said, I know, I read your book.
Wow, heckled from the start.
On day one. It was like we were on a bus,
Oh, well, at Frankston, you've pretty much got to, it's going to just come from the start, isn't it? They're not shy up there.
No, it's lovely.
But you're no babe in the woods when it comes to material being on stage. How many plays have you got?
Written, yeah. Well, I'm on to 15 now. I'm on to my 15th one. When I say I'm on to it, I've just done a first draft, and that's a play that I was just thinking maybe it's 16, but anyway, 15, and that's a play that I'm doing for the Sydney Theatre Company. So I'm on a commission from them to write something. So I've been working on that in my spare time after midnight. Yeah, so I'm not a stranger to the theatre, and in fact, if you want to be a playwright, you really do need to be a creature of the theatre, I think, to sort of understand how the theatre works, and so that's been, that has been my life, which is great. And in my show, Hello Beautiful, I talk also about working in Hollywood, and that's one of my sort of centrepiece bits about it, because that's quite funny, what happened there. And also just the odd bits and pieces about opening nights in foreign climes, but it's not a lot about the theatre, it's just a bit. It's actually about all sorts of things that we've all, working through the sort of decades from my childhood in the early 60s to now, and, there's a size of recognition from the audience that these have been their experiences too.
Yeah.
But because playwriting, we've discussed before how playwriting is a little bit different to screenplay writing, because if you want a book on screenplay writing, there's 1,001 books and courses available. But when it comes to writing plays, there's very, very little.
Yeah, that's really true, Gordon. That is exactly true. And sometimes, I've been in the middle of writing something, and I've thought, oh my God, how do I do this? I know I've written lots of them, but they're all flukes. How do you do this? And so I have taken to Googling how to write a play, and actually there is very little information. So it is an odd business.
Do you think it's something that it's hard to capture, or why do you think?
Well,
maybe that's your next. That's your next.
How to write a play? No, that is something I will never sit down and write, because I'm writing on the skin of my pants, I tell you, on that one. No, I think that I think that's been very documented in film, because there's so much money at stake that actually trying to find, not so much being cynical and trying to find a formula for screenwriting, but actually trying to find a way for everyone else to talk about it, I think. And when I mean everyone else, I mean investors and producers and all of the people that are garnered to make a film. And I've worked on film, and I think it is very sort of, it's critiqued, and there are really very useful books on writing films, but I think, I'm sort of struggling to think why people haven't. There's some stuff about 3 acts and where your turning point should be, and where your reveals, and how you deal with all the technical stuff about narrative. So you can learn about that sort of thing. But it's a kind of ineffable thing, and to be really honest with you, when I wake up some mornings and go to my desk, even though I'm thrilled to do it, because I love being a writer, I enjoy the whole process of opening up my laptop and imagining those imaginary people living in there. It's so nice. It's like having imaginary friends at my age, which is serious. But, I do sort of really enjoy it, but there are days when I think to myself, gosh, that's how you do that. And you think, really, because I've been doing this since I was 24, so you would think, so it's an elusive thing, but that's what makes it wonderful.
Now, you started off studying acting, is that right, at UCA? Yeah. So is that you calling on all that old training now that you're on
Yeah.
stage?
You bet historical research, I tell you. I am. I have had, I've had a few sort of, classes to kind of brush up again, and I am definitely, because I started my career as an actress, and then vowed I would never be on stage again, and then now at the other end, the book end, I've decided why not, and that feels tremendously liberating. And I might add that after this Victorian tour next year, I'm taking it around Australia. So I've got there's a tour organisation called Performing Lines, and they've picked it up to take it around to Northern Territory and Western Australia and everything. So that will be that'll be mighty fun, and it'll be very interesting to see whether all of the stuff about Melbourne life actually translates to people who live in Darwin.
Yes.
Do you have much about coffee and?
No, I don't go on about coffee. And in fact, I did some really great stuff initially about the Werribee Sewage Farm. But that was an article I wrote in The Age, because I have a column in The Age as well, because I just think the Werribee treatment plant is so superior and so something that Melburnians should be so completely proud of. And, I went down there and spent time doing some research down there, and I thought about putting that into the Werribee show at Wyndham, but basically, your folk don't need to know any more about the sewage farm.
Yeah, you won't get heckled.
So no sewage in the show, you can confirm.
Yeah, I know, like they're over it, really.
Yeah, next, we've seen it, done it. I built it. You might even get a local yelling out, I built it.
That'd be good. Yeah.
So having that background where you were taught in acting, do you think that sort of gave you a good, solid understanding going forward with the writing for actors and writing for...
I think it did, absolutely. I think, as I said before, you really do need to be a creature of the theatre. So, my first sort of kind of big stage experience, I think, was a show which was called Storming Mont Albert by Tram. And I worked on the trams, and the show started in Mont Albert. The actors all got on along the way as the story unfolded. The audience had their interval at the Australia Hotel in Burke Street, I think it was at the time, or maybe Collins Street. And then they all got back on again and came back and finished at this coffee shop in Mont Albert. Now, we set up this, wrote and performed this show, and we assumed it would run for 2 weeks, and it actually ran for 6 months. So I performed on the trams every bloody night, I did. two shows on the weekend for 6 months, and I learnt a lot about actually writing and what it means to be an actor when you don't have anything to say and you are actually in a small space with people and dead in that space. And somehow or other, writing as I do always for ensembles, so that there isn't really a lead necessarily, but everybody has a significant contribution to the unfolding of the story. So there are no maids or butlers or what have you, because you can't afford them. You can't afford to have someone that just. So I learned about the economics of theatre, and that actually makes for writing in a much more robust way.
I do find it like theatre does do a really, really good job of keeping it located in one location. Like when you're doing a film or a novel, you don't have those restrictions at all. That's true. I mean, I have to say most of my plays have been very multi-locationed, and it's only now at this point that I've started, this is the first one that I have delivered, number 15, which is in one room. That's the first time I've ever done it. So I have been somebody who is pretty much a director's nightmare.
I was going to say, that and the art department must be like, oh, for the love of... Gee, what do we have to do, 5 sets? Oh, okay. Well, is that something that's come about from you just, experience, or why the change of mindset?
Well, you see, I love going to the theatre and seeing lots of different... people on stage, and I guess if I know that it's one or two person show, sometimes I'm thinking to myself, oh, I wish someone else would come on now. You know, I am feeling like that as an audience member.
Yeah.
So I have been full of largesse. It's like, you know, my attitude to having dinner parties is that, you know, there has to be something for everybody, and even those pesky vegetarians, you know, they're all right, I will do tofu then for you, annoying people. You know, so that's what I feel about the theatre in a way, that I want it to be a feast. You know, I want the theatre to, well, I have, that's been my attitude. And the reason I've only got one in my new play is that I'm writing the story backwards. So you start at the end and work your way, which really does do your head in, actually, as a writer, trying to work the plot lines and stuff for all that. But I have loved having big casts. So a big show of mine, which was called Inheritance, that had 11 people. Wow. And, you know, it was a big family saga about the rural crisis. And, you know, it was asking the question of a big family, who gets the farm? When everybody had dibs on it in the family, and you know, so therefore you had to have the big red dirt on the stage, and you had to have a big story, because some of these rural stories are big in terms of their drama and tragedy and humour, of course. So I loved writing that.
Oh, good. And any desire to write more for screen?
Not at the moment. Look, you know what? The truth is with that stuff is that I find it quite, you know, you just live in development hell. You just write draft after draft after draft. Sorry for any of your listeners out there who are absolute, you know, loving writing film. But I found that I was, another year had gone by, and I had actually spent that time with just filling my bottom drawer with drafts. And it's all right, you get paid, and that's good. You know, better than not getting paid, but not the same as actually having material that you write and you see and you learn and you look at and you think, you know, there's a completion by, you know, because you are writing for performance. So it felt a bit sort of corrosive, too much for me writing for film. But that said, you know, I had great times. I worked in television and I wrote some of Sea Change years ago, and that was, you know, one of my career highlights. I love doing that.
Yeah, Sea Change was a great show.
Thank you. Yeah, well, thank you for them. I just did 2 episodes of that. But yeah, you know, things that are collegiate and collaborative are wonderful.
And is there anything that you sort of have, you know, as something you're working towards, or something that you'd really like to do, like an Avengers movie or something? Just joking.
If you can really see me doing that, can't you? That just sounds just right up my alley. You know, of course, if a television or film offer came, I guess I'd say yes, of course. But I'm just now thinking that I'm really enjoying this process of writing and performing. It's fun. Look, I admittedly, let's wait until I have done my 21 theatres. And, you know,
you've only had opening night.
Yeah, it's only on opening night. Yes, I might be a little bit ahead of myself. I finish in June. So, in fact, yes, I may be ahead of myself. But I'm loving that. And I'm thinking, oh, what else can I do now? This is fun.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm very happy and excited by writing plays and working with wonderful actors and directors and designers and all that stuff. That's very thrilling. And then when that all, you know, I feel like I've had enough of that, then I'm going to write a novel.
Oh, okay. Fabulous.
And now if people want to buy tickets,
yes.
How do they go about it?
They ring the Wyndham Cultural Centre.
Yep.
Or go online. You can buy tickets there. And if you go to my Facebook page, you can see the whole tour. So that's just an author page, Hannie Rayson, playwright, a Facebook page, and on it there's a like the list of all of the theatres that scrolls down the page. And if you're not in Wyndham and you want to see it somewhere else, it's going on lots of places.
But you will be there on Friday, March 31st, just in case people are thinking, when can I go?
I will. And the other great thing about Friday, March 31st, it is my birthday.
Oh.
So, you know,
well, we know how to party in Werribee, so...
Yeah, all that.
We'll party like it's sewerage.
Like we've just opened the sewerage farm.
Yeah.
It'll be huge. Well, thank you so much for joining us. It was great to talk to you. Good luck with the show. We look forward to seeing it, and looking forward to the new book when it's coming out. When you stop getting on that's treading the boards.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Thanks, Gordon. That was terrific.
Thanks,
Bye.
Hannie.
Bye.